Yo, dog. Are you thinking what I'm thinking, dog? Siegfried and Rupp, we're unstoppable, dog. Yo. Yo, dog. Where are you going, dog? Dog? Are you honestly abandoning me? Oh my god. These players, they just need to... Oh man, does that feel good. My hair is teased up like a 1986 era Bret Michaels, and I am here today to show you how Ruprecht is like peanut butter. It goes with jelly, it goes with bananas, it goes with chocolate, it goes with potato chips, for freak's sake, and most importantly, it can hold up on its own. What? How is that possible? Well, friends, it's actually quite simple. You use your head for something other than a hat rack. Yes, but jerk, I have been informed that this ship is poorly armored, has inaccurate guns, and I mean, secondaries are fun fireworks, but the ship isn't competitive. I mean, yes, maybe you can have a good game in the right situation, but come on, be real. This is just you trolling, right? No, it's not, and everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and certain ships won't appeal to certain players who only like to play certain ways. Case in point, I'm not a huge fan of American light cruisers or Japanese torpedo boats, but if you like them, more power to you. But if you're like me, and you like to wreck teams and randoms, then behold the battle boat to rule them all at Tier 8, and only for right now. Ruprecht has the highest average XP of all ships at the tier, at least as of a couple weeks ago. It also has the highest battle impact at the tier, and up until the last patch notes, knowing exactly what that meant was like trying to read tea leaves, but now we know the battle impact is the win rate of a ship compared to the player's standardized win rate. Does just being in this ship make you better? Well, in the case of Ruprecht, the spreadsheet says yes, more so than any other ship at the tier. All too often, we hear our players bemoan the starch tubery of their teammates. Why did they abandon the flank? What should I do? Friends, I'm showing you exactly what you do in that situation with Ruprecht right now. You read the minimap, you react, and you plan accordingly. Did I turn around and give up the flank? No. I pushed my flank until we saw what was there, in this case a Baltimore and a Maine. Now, I was never spotted by a destroyer, so I knew at that point that that was the weak flank because this is a carrier game. Then, rather than go and get myself stuck in a crossfire, I took advantage of the red team's hesitancy to push that flank to allow me to reposition myself into a stronger location here, which conveniently set up a crossfire with the red battleships, that being a Bismarck and a Marlborough, who were trying to push the center. Now, I was thinking about heading north towards the red base at this point, but my concern was that the Baltimore and Maine would then be allowed to flank around this side unchecked. And so this is why I'm turning back this way, which is actually kind of away from where the rest of the battle is. And I'm a little disappointed because I'm thinking, well, this is going to get you really, really far from the action. But this is what I have to do. I have to make sure that this flank is cleaned up, because if the red team comes around and gets behind us, well, that could be really bad news bears. And conveniently, there's the Baltimore, but inconveniently, 4 overpins. Now, where is that Maine? I kept expecting to see the Maine's shells on the horizon just come towards me, so that's why I'm remaining angled out like this. But I'm starting to think that maybe the Maine has just turned around. And so since I dropped spot now, and as such don't really have to worry about those shells coming in, I'm turning back towards the flank to prepare to engage that Baltimore and the Maine if they are in fact coming around this way. At this point, I'm also looking at the west point of the map, and I'm seeing that it just appears to be a standoff over there with carriers going after each other incessantly. That looks really unexciting over there. I'm really glad I didn't abandon my flank and cross over to the other side of the map. Spotted? Oh, let's see how inaccurate these guns are. I keep hearing about that from other CCs. Oh, I guess accurate enough. So at that point, Baltimore cleared out. Now we just need to find out where this main is. Are they going out wide? Are they going all the way around those islands? Or have they turned back to go towards their cap? With each passing second, I am starting to think, okay, they must have gone back to their base. Why would they abandon their cruiser, though? And then you have to remember, okay, well, we're playing standard battles. Sometimes people just abandon their teammates. I mean, we saw that from a Siegfried at the beginning. Anyway, think about that. If the Siegfried had come with me at this point, oh my lord, we would have just gone straight through this whole side. It would have been a complete massacre. But they didn't. They crossed over to the other side of the map, and we will see how that action benefits them towards the end. All right, there was the main fling away. What am I going to do here? Am I going to cut through the center, or am I going to stay on the top side of the big island? First, I was thinking I would cut through the center because maybe the main is going to try and push our cap, but then just judging by the way that this player has behaved, which is to say they've turned out and not tried to engage a single ship over here once, I realized, you know what, they're probably just fleeing back to their cap. This does not seem like the kind of player who would push their advantage. So I opt instead to follow my instincts and go around this north side of this main island. And my other reason for doing so is I'm wondering, do you suppose their aircraft carrier has moved at all? I'm starting to suspect that they haven't. And so naturally my mind is starting to think, okay, let's see if we can get that main. That would be our third ship sunk. If we can get the carrier, that's going to be our fourth ship sunk. Then we will be behind the remainder of the red team, and surely one of those three we will be able to get our Kraken with. So let's just go ahead and push our advantage here. So while we do this, let me tell you about my experience in this ship. Well, obviously, one, it is very fun, and it has a lot of utility, which you know I like a lot. Utility is insanely important for solo play. My fellow CC TommyBoy601 recently did a Ships of the Year podcast with myself and some other CCs where we submitted our favorite ships that were released or rebalanced in the past 12 months. And I'll share with you now that this was my numero uno, and if you listen to that podcast when it comes out, it's one of but a couple that I picked that actually made the list. Many on the list are just spammy ships or big gun battleships, which is fine. Like I said, people can like what they like. But it was a little disheartening for me to hear a distinct lack of any variety, even from my fellow CCs. And I mean no disrespect to them. It simply reflects the interests of the majority of our player base. But with me, you know the enjoyment of this game comes from making anything work. And so when I hear some folks around the water cooler sharing their opinions on this ship that I disagree with, well, I am more than happy to share my own opinion that is to the contrary. I mean, you're here, you're watching this, you can decide if playing like this is appealing to you or not. Now, some folks, they want to park their battleships and fire from long range, and then at about the 12-minute mark, start pinging a destroyer to abandon whatever that destroyer is doing just so they can sit next to them and get their health back to 20%. But some of us prefer to take matters into our own hands and more John Wick the situation. It's whatever floats your boat, or different boats for different folks. Now, I will mention that when I came around this side and I was spotted, even though the main was outside of my detection ring, that's when I knew this Parsifal hadn't moved, and it was going to take them a minute for them to realize the situation that they were in. And I've got my secondaries trained on them. I know that this Parsifal is going to be dropping me over and over because I'm trying to ruin their game. Imagine that, a carrier player being upset that somebody's trying to ruin their game. I also have my Hydro on right now because I believe it's a Loyang on the red team, hasn't been spotted in some time, and the last thing I want are to be surprised by their torpedoes. But as it is right now, I've got my angle maintained towards the main, and I've got my guns focused on the Parsifal. Now, It would have been wise for the main to change directions and set me up for the crossfire, but again, they aren't doing that. So I'm just going to continue doing what I'm going to do, which is going to be to sink this Parsifal. It is the only thing that I want to do right now, because who likes carriers? Who likes carrier players? So I can maintain my angle to the main, and we will take this out. I believe we're going to take it out on this next salvo, and our concern will then turn to the main. The main, who is conveniently starting to turn and give me broadside. Now, I have seen some reports that these guns are trash. Well, there's the Loyang. Okay, now we don't have to worry about that anymore. Go ahead and select a Loyang as my primary for my secondaries, or AITBA, or whatever it's called. Got my guns loaded. Let's see what these can do to a broadside main. Probably aren't expecting this. And they're gone. Okay, so the guns aren't bad, the secondaries aren't bad, and the torps aren't bad, and apparently the armor is good enough. Oh, look, we just picked up a cleared sky, so maybe this ship is actually as good as the statistics say it is. Interesting how sometimes, you know, the numbers counter what the feelings say. Alright, switching over to HE because, you know, I wants me my Kraken. I already feel like I completely wrecked this team, and this Loyang should just donate themselves to the cause, but you know how this player base is. They want to stretch the match on forever, if possible, even when there's no hope, so rather than make you watch the rest of what's going to happen, and what that is the Loyang just keeps running and running and running while I madly try to get that Kraken, but am unable to. Let's just skip forward to the end so we can see the XP. Let's see, what are we gonna have here? It is just a pinch under 3,000 XP, but we'll go ahead and call it a very good game and more than double the XP of the Siegfried who abandoned the spawn. If I had joined them as well, there is a near 100% chance we would have lost this match, and that's why, even if your teammates do the wrong thing, you do the right thing. Sometimes it's the difference that will get your win rate up just that teeny bit more, so you can gloat about how high it is. Thanks for watching, folks. I will get back out there for another one, and we will talk then.